Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever to Link to the Past Randomizer fans here on Speed Gaming 2. We are bringing you a Link to the Past Randomizer tournament match, group stage losers round between Freddeh and Solski. And this is going to be game 2 of this series with Freddeh up 1-0 and Solski making the match a map compass shuffle to try to swing this back, because if he loses, he is out of the tournament. On the mic here, I am Reg, and I am joined by Mercer. Hello, Mercer. What do you got on this match for us?
Yeah, looking forward to this one. For those who might be new to V31 in particular, what Map Compass Shuffle is, it's a lighter version of Key Sanity in many ways. The keys are still in their correct dungeons, the way you would see in a normal open seed, but the maps and compasses can be anywhere in the world, and we do not know from a map check without the maps which dungeons are crystals and which are pendants.
Right, and that puts a lot more emphasis on the information gathering side of the game, especially if maps are sparse, because if you don't have a map when you enter a dungeon, you won't know what prize the boss drops until the moment you defeat the boss. The only exceptions are Sahasrara will tell you what the green pendant is, because that unlocks an item from him. And the bomb shop vendor in the dark world will tell us what the 5-6 crystals are, because those trigger him to start selling the super bomb. And the first item we see here is a map of Skull Woods, which we cannot check till we get to the dark world.
Yeah, the other big thing this mode does is it does give a little more value to dungeons, because they'll have potentially 2 more items in most cases, except for escape, which gets 1.
Right, take the map and the compass out, and that's 2 more literally anythings that could go in any of the 10 dungeons across the bottom of the tracker there.
Both the runners visiting Uncle, first hoping to find a weapon, but it's just the shield of the vanilla combo, you don't get the sword.
And with the guards dropping magic, that means you're not going to get bombs off of them either, because of how the prize packs are shuffled in V31. Freddeh going for the tree pole, and it's just hearts. Solski making a bit of an interesting play. Save and quit to the Sanctuary, get the 300 rupees, and immediately back to Link's house for him. I've got to think this signals a south route to Kakariko for him to try to get bombs and minimize the amount of walking he has to do in the village.
Yeah, with that 300 rupees, he can either do the farmable spot here, or he can just swing by the bomb shop for 10 bombs for 50 rupees.
Looks like he's trying to farm 1, which I would suspect is just in case the race game has a required item, because that takes a bomb. And there it is. There's 2 even. But anything beyond that, the shop in Kakariko is on the south side of the village, so walking in from the south is generally more effective if you want to buy bomb.
Yeah, for those who might be wondering, the compasses will turn on the item tracker count within dungeons. They are effectively useless for runners of this caliber.
Yeah, pretty much any runner able to come out of the qualifiers on top 128 knows things like their dungeon item counts and whatnot, and really doesn't need... It's nice to have, and it's nice to look at, especially when you have to full clear everything so it all shows filled out, but they don't need it at all. You can see the additional walking Freddeh's doing here. He has to come all the way down to South Kakariko. He will pull bombs out of his chest, which will save him from having to buy. 3 is exactly enough for the village proper, but still a lot of extra walking instead of just walking right into Blind's hideout like he would normally do.
Bottle vendor with just a partial refund today.
He learned from the best, so... There is an immediate, almost immediate weapon on Freddeh's side with that fire rod. And Solski found a bottle, which will let him double back to the sick kid and get that check in. Nothing else of note so far in either Blind's hideout or the well. Well, I eat my words. There's a power glove.
And there's a hammer on the well side. It's a little strange to see them checking these in kind of a different order at the same time. Normally, routing works out such that you see both go the same way.
Yeah, that's what happens when you have one guy walking in from the south and the other from the north. But we are now just one item away from access to the Dark World, and it is the Moon Pearl, which the flippers are not. And Chad is calling... sorry, go on.
I was going to say, you're definitely not going to complain about finding the flippers this early, but they're not, like, super helpful progression.
No, having them before you do your South Shore checks, Dam, Mini Moldorm Cave, Ice Rod Cave, really lets you just route all that in a bit faster and more efficiently, because you can swim to the Ice Rod Cave, then you can immediately turn back around and go to Zora. But not really a bonus per se as far as huge number of locations unlocked. But I would say that Chad is calling Aghanim almost dead, and while I would love to see that, don't be so quick to say that when we haven't seen the Lumberjack ledge yet. That could always be something that these guys will require.
Yeah, the only other possibility would be if we happen to have that rare Pyramid Ledge Moon Pearl.
Right, and that's a worst case scenario that you don't really plan around until you've checked so many other locations. It's almost the only thing left. So one runner done with their cat checks. Freddeh gonna blind pull the race game. If I no, he changed his mind on that. I believe it's 300 rupees on it, so it wouldn't have been a bad pull for him if he did that blind. Especially because it looks, Solski's going straight to the back of Escape here. I thought he was doing something else, but I'm just silly.
Yeah, it was 50 rather than 300, so wouldn't have gotten up to Zora money. If it was 300, getting to over 500 with those flippers would be very nice.
Well, Solski only pulls 40 out of the back of the sewer, so that's even worse. While Freddeh taking full advantage of those flippers right away, just use another 50 on the island. Not going to see that grab, I don't think. Solski making the far more conventional play and just heading straight for the dam.
Yeah, Mini Moldorm Cave still packed with 5 items.
Yeah, and I think Freddeh will be heading that way now. As we find a Book of Medora in the dam, that raises an interesting option. It's a lot fewer items, but there is a case to be made for running to Desert Palace immediately. It is full clearable if it is not boots locked.
Yeah, it's also 4 items instead of 2 because of MC Shuffle.
Well, if it's not boots locked, then that'll be an item on the torch, so 3 items in that case. But
right, but you can
Solski
do the check at least, so you'll know what it is.
Yeah, just means you'll have to come back later if it turns out to be something. Regardless, Solski not taking that play yet. He is going for the density early on. And he's using the bee to put these mini Moldorms down instead of dealing with that hammer hitbox.
Yeah, that's actually one of the worst rooms in the game for the hammer hitbox, because it's hard to get side to side on those.
The most value we saw in there was either a 50 rupee pack or a fire shield, depending on how you value the cash at this stage of the game, though. So he's still got the Ice Rod Cave check. Oh, he's not going for that. This may be the Desert Palace play after all.
Yeah, you definitely can get to the ledge and Agena. So, I mean, it's a decent number of checks, even if it's boots locked.
On Freddie's side, he's pulling a sword and his Zora money, and he's learning that that map we picked up in Link's house is for a green pendant. Desert Ledge is trash, and Solski learns we don't have any Light World maps yet, as Freddie is making the Eastern Palace play. I actually really like this play because a lot of these checks are in the so-called Sphere 1. You can access them with 0 items in your inventory, which makes them pretty decent bets to have progression. And with Map Compass Shuffle, there's 5 items to be found here instead of the normal 3.
Yeah, without a bow, it is guaranteed that one of them will be on our most nights, because the big key has to be in front. But so we'll be able to get 4 of them.
Yeah, but even that's a pretty good proposition at this stage of the game, especially when you don't know whether this is a pendant or a crystal, and if it does turn out to be a pendant, you don't have to come back at all after making these checks. And if it's a crystal, then you've already cleared it out, and if there was progression, you got ahead on that. On Solski's side, we haven't seen anything of value in the desert yet, unfortunately. I don't think we've seen the torch either. So... Or maybe is the torch the big key, and did we not see that?
I believe the torch is the big key, yes.
All right then. So Solski's going down for that compass we saw on the ledge earlier, or just jumping down there to go to Agena.
Yeah, I wonder if he forgot, because the lower entrance was accessible, right? Or the place where you can jump off?
Yeah, the far right entrance was accessible, and he got both the chests over there. And it looks like nothing of value in either of Eastern or Desert Palace, despite the early access to both.
Yeah, we do have one more check here. It is technically out of logic without the lamp, but that's definitely not going to stop these runners. Well, I mean, that's the minimalist of values.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll learn whether Desert's a crystal or a pendant in a few seconds here, but without the means to clear it, it ultimately doesn't matter until we find those boots.
Yeah, so front of escape and Zora area are kind of our big things that are left.
Ice Rod Cave is also on the table, although at this point I would say that is practically Zora area.
Yeah, running that in with the flippers isn't too bad. Freddeh also already did the hobo, but didn't do any of the other Zora flipper checks.
Good bomb kills on those side mini mold worms. Getting the 2-for-1 on the left is always enjoyable. Now at this point, Solski's making the Eastern dip, so it'll be Freddeh's Ice Rock Cave and Zora area versus Solski's Desert Palace checks. Of course, from what we know, Freddeh's skipping Ice Rock Cave, going straight to the Zora area. May come back using that Whirlpool, but I would be a little surprised because that's a bit of a walk from Zora.
Yeah, especially without the boots. It does have Zora money, so this is 4 items. Well, Ice Rod might be required.
Might be required, and even now where you don't know whether it is, it's just super reassuring that you know you're not going to spend 40 minutes looking for it at the end game.
Just a big 20 on Zora Ledge, so we're really looking to see what Zora is selling today.
Decent odds it's progression, but there's still the castle as well.
Yep, and Ice Rod Cave, and I think that might be it for checks we haven't seen. But it is the Moon Pearl, so that opens up a lot.
Yep. Freddeh can get anywhere in the lower Dark World at this point with these 2 items, except Ice Palace. The only problem is this will push him far, far away from Ice Rod Cave in the event that it's holding some obscure form of progression. And Freddeh is immediately going for Hype Cave in the South Dark World, it looks like.
Let's see how this is today.
A mirror shield? That doesn't open anything up anymore. That does, though.
That does. Yeah, the bow is nice.
If Freddie's confident with his dark rooms, he can go full clear the Palace of Darkness if he wants to right now, and finish Eastern Palace.
Yeah, it does at least have the fire rod that brings one of the rooms in Palace of Darkness into logic, even the money-filled corridor, but it does also make the turtle room a lot easier.
Did we see a crystal at Desert there on Solski's screen, I think?
I missed it, I'm afraid.
Well, Freddeh was thinking about the immediate Palace of Darkness play, but he wants Catfish instead, it looks like. With his current item set, he can't cross the river to the West Dark World from here. So I'm gonna guess he'll walk this back to the Pyramid and then the Palace of Darkness. That's only my guess. And both our tracker and chat did catch that was a red crystal at Desert Palace. So shout outs to both chat and our tracker, Mr. Scruff Ninja Tuna, tonight.
It's good to have people with fast eyes watching. Mine are slow these days. Solski doing flipper checks, so likely going to get his Moon Pearl shortly, unless he takes a sudden sharp turn.
The only turn he could take from here would be to Ice Rod Cave, which he is, but he'll be headed to the Zora area right after that, I'm sure, because that's just a quick swim back.
Yeah, there's a couple of items I can see that, like, theoretically could send him herring off, but I doubt it, even if it is, like, flute or something.
Catfish was junk, and Freddeh is taking the long walk back as we see Ice Rod Cave is absolutely nothing, and Freddeh is rewarded for skipping it as long as he never goes back.
Yeah, though there's also a decent chance that Solski never checks Catfish, so those may just counteract each other.
Yeah, especially with the Zora area already checked. Catfish is a long out-of-the-way walk no matter how you slice it. Freddeh is going to pick up this map. Let's see what it is. Misery Mire. No immediate check on it. I guess he doesn't care at this point since he can't reach it.
Yeah, we're several items away from maybe caring about that one a bunch. I think we need Flute, Red Cane, and either Boots or Hookshot to complete it, plus whatever medallion.
Yeah. And we need all those items except the cane just to even get into the front door, so... So here's Solski grabbing his lunar orb, Freddeh grabbing his monkey. And let's see where Solski goes next. I'm sort of expecting Hype Cave out of it, but definitely a strong case to be made for the North Dark World, the Village of Outcasts as well.
Yeah, this looks like Hype Cave. We will see if Solski heads towards Pod right away, or does some of those Catfish pyramid checks, or heads towards Village of Outcasts and just item density.
Well, heading towards Village of Outcasts isn't exactly the density play without mids, because after Hype Cave, that's only 2 checks. You can only get Stumpy in the big game.
I meant save quit to Sanctuary and go through the village portal, sorry.
Ah.
After those 2 checks.
Yeah, that would be reasonable, although that won't be chasing density after he gets this bow either. That will be Pod pretty much regardless of how you slice it. Because for chat and people that aren't keeping count, we're playing Map and Compass Shuffle, so instead of the usual 5, Palace of Darkness is a 7-item treasure trove. Granted, it's actually some more items and small keys for once, which we've already seen 2 of the keys. Gotta see 2 more here in these front chests.
Swamp is our other 5/6 crystal, according to the Big Red Bomb vendor.
And there's the lantern, so now Palace of Darkness is fully and 100% clearable in logic.
Also less unpleasant, because, 6-heart green mail turtle room is not necessarily the safest thing ever.
It's fun, though. In the same way that bashing your face into a wall repeatedly is fun. So Pyramid for Solski, he's going to grab that Mire map probably, and then we'll see where he goes after that. Could be Catfish, could be Pod. And a regular crystal at Misery Mire.
So yeah, that adds a number of items to the definitely required list.
Freddeh is going straight for the Helmswar King, not even checking the back of Pod. I'm sure he'll go back in for all the other items just on account of the sheer number of them, but this is definitely a play.
Yeah, I guess it's a free mirror when you beat the boss. Routing Pod without the mirror is always kind of annoying.
Yeah, and actually it does make a lot of sense if his intent is to save and quit after he's done checking Pod. Because he kills the boss here and he goes back to the start, then he just saves and quits out of the back instead of having to go all the way to the boss for that.
Yeah, and he already did all the other checks in this area. Can't combo it with Eastern unless the mirror is in here, and if the mirror is in here, then he would have the mirror.
Yep. Meanwhile, on Solski's side, we did see the Catfish check from him, so did not see him take the long walk back to Pod. Starting at Sank indicates it's probably Village of Outcasts for him.
Yeah, I mean, that green pendant Skull Woods is effectively 5 items. Thieves is 6. There's a decent amount over here, plus, of course, the village checks themselves.
Yeah, the village checks are 3 more, then he can run his way down to Stumpy in the dig game for an additional 2. And if he finds the mitts and all of that, that's the Smith's chain as well open to him.
Yeah, runners have been very divergent in their paths the whole way along. It's kind of nice to see. Oh no!
Freddeh standing too far back as he tries to put arrows into the Helmosaur King takes a death. I mean, this fight is worse than NMG. Like, if you're playing vanilla NMG, you have 7 hearts here unless you're good enough to skip Sankheart. You've also got a Master Sword. So... now we are seeing Freddeh take it to the back instead of back to the Helmosaur. Hopefully he'll pick something up that'll make round 2 a fair bit easier for him. Setting up the hammer jump here, still a pixel or 2 too high. I think that's too low, but he might have it. Nope, he's got it. I'm just bad.
I don't actually know the setup for that trick myself, so I was taking your word on it.
It's basically you can view some pixels, like as the menu is up and covering your screen, there are a few pixels that you're looking for in the gaps in your menu. But it's been a while since I've done it myself, so... Freddeh picks up a mushroom and takes a death warp out of... Oh, he had to take the death warp because he had no small keys to get out of the maze normally.
Meanwhile, Solski finds the mitts in the big chest of Skull Woods, so that's going to help with routing here.
Yep. That'll let him do the smiths and whatnot real easily after he does the rest of the village. Notably, he is saying no to that green pendant for now.
I mean, 3-heart fighter sword Mothula is not necessarily the most fun. Oh well, okay, there's the flute just sitting on the dark side of the village.
Yeah, so as soon as Solski goes back to the light world and activates that flute, he can get to the Misery Mire area. Still can't get into the dungeon, but can at least check 2 items in the shed.
Doing the a quote-unquote intended way for hammer pegs.
With the boots and a sword, he could item dash that, but he's missing the most important half of that combo. Freddeh not taking the key for key in the Harmless Hellway. Does know that's a... Actually, does he know that's a key? Yes, he knows that's a key because the key door to the Dark Maze is still shut. And that's what that key is for. So yeah, Freddeh better at counting keys than I am and knows he doesn't have to open that chest. Now, Solski here, he grabbed the Smith before doing the dig game. And he save and quit to turn him in, which is all well and good. But you can't do the dig game if you have a follower. And if you grab the purple chest and let it go, does it count as a follower still?
Not completely sure of that. If it does if it's still on the same screen. I don't know if you left it behind like before the screen transition.
Well, I guess we'll learn whether Solski knows the answer to that or not based on how he grabs the purple chest before or after he takes the dig game as part of the rest of his village checks.
I'm going to object to that blue mail. Not on this few of hearts still.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't need a death warp, never gonna say no to blue. And he's also getting to activate his flute over at the same time here.
Round 2 with Helmasaur, meanwhile.
That's a third of his health gone. He can only take one more hit, because pretty much anything Helmasaur King throws at him is 2 hearts of damage. And he's do or die, and the mask isn't quite off yet. But we'll see if he can get it this time. There we go. Helmasaur King down for Freddeh. And that's going to be a prize for him. And we did see Quake for Misery Mire as Freddeh gets a blue pendant. So unfortunately, that entire Palace of Darkness excursion only turned up a lamp and a mushroom for Freddeh. Lamp is alright, it'll make some rooms easier, although I'm pretty sure it's far from a necessity for him. I'm pretty sure he can handle pretty much any dark room this game will throw at him.
Yeah, and Pod itself has one of the 2 worst dark rooms that they'll have to do today with Mire out.
It's going to be the Village of Outcasts for Freddeh now as well. He would have the option of going up the mountain as well. That would be perfectly in logic with that glove plus flute. But at the same time, that's only 2 checks up there, and he can see the top of Spectacle Rock. No mirror, no hookshot means no west.
Yeah, it's really nice to have either the mirror or the hookshot before you go up there the first time. Otherwise, it's just kind of getting the save quit point, and that's about it.
East Town for Solski, excuse me, so far just a big key and 10 arrows. Big key is guaranteed to be in the first 4 chests, so still 2 more items to see in there. Freddeh is saying no to Skull Woods for now. Means he's not going to pick up those Titan's Mitt.
And there's our small key, so for this mode, the rest of the chests are gas in Thieves Town. We've got our keys already.
Will be another minute or 2 before Solski gets up to the attic for his next check, but he's still got a few rooms to work his way through before then. Freddeh has now cleared out the 3 overworld checks in the village and grabbed his flute, and we'll see probably into Thieves Town after this, following Solski.
It doesn't have the option to do the grab of the smith chain the way Solski did.
Nope, can't grab any of that without the Titan's Mitts, so at this point we'll probably see him head down to Dig Game and Stumpy. He's already done Hype Cave, so Stumpy will finish his Dark World loop, assuming no mirror. And then, if I had to guess, he'll probably come back to Kakariko after the save and quit there to activate his flute. But what he does after that is anyone's guess. Could be Skull Woods, which would give him those mitts. Could be the mountain for the scarce couple checks it has. Or he could find progression to carry him off somewhere else.
Yeah, the mitts do lock quite a lot. He'll get funneled into Skullwoods eventually.
Actually, you say the mitts lock off quite a lot. I just realized Solski has a play open to him once he finishes his own Dark World loop here. With the mitts, the flippers, the fire rod, and the hammer, Solski can full clear Ice Palace.
Yeah, I believe depending on the key layout, it may not be in logic without Hookshot or Cane. But definitely will be able to do it.
Yeah, there are key layouts that would require either or both of those items to reach Cold Stare. But I've never met a rando runner that cared about key logic strongly.
And the only real reason to learn it is to know where items can't be.
Yeah, and I suppose that would fall under caring about it, but at the same time, it's not going to stop anybody from full clearing a dungeon they're already in. And I believe the entirety of Thieves Town was junk, aside from potentially whatever blind drops here.
Yeah, and we don't even know if this is a crystal yet. It could be the last pendant.
Actually, if this is a pendant, I wouldn't be surprised to see Freddeh run right back to Skullwoods immediately. Alas, it is a crystal, so we will not see a potential Freddeh runs to Skullwoods, kills Mothula, and immediately pulls the pedestal play. However, it is worth noting the bright side to that is that 36 minutes into this race, we do finally have a crystal on the board.
Yeah, and Solski heading over towards Stumpy.
Okay, so what he's doing here is he's doing Stumpy first, then he'll walk back to the dig game, then walk back and pick up his purple chest. Which, he's not happy with that arrow.
Yeah, not a big fan of the single arrow when already at maximum carrying capacity, apparently.
Yeah, single arrows worth things only when hints are on, because then you can follow unique item hints to the single arrow. But this tournament is not using hints, excuse me, so no need to worry about. So dig game was junk, so it's going to be the purple chest into the save and quit for Solski so that he can immediately deliver that.
Yeah, and then I wouldn't be surprised to see him make the pod play.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, in the absence of a way to get to the east side of Death Mountain, Palace of Darkness does continue to be by far the most efficient play for Solski at this point. Would be for Freddeh as well, except he's already made it and didn't find anything of real value.
Yeah, now Solski does, as you mentioned earlier, have ice available as well. That's 5 items in this mode, which is also quite a lot. But no boots and hookshot makes it unpleasant.
Well, let's see if this purple chest gives him a reason to not choose between those two dungeons.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That, combined with the hammer, is East Death Mountain access, and that is where Solski is going immediately. No pod, no Ice Palace. Let's go.
Yeah, that's all of Light Death Mountain, and you can also do Super Bunny Cave.
And to answer a question in chat, the Titan's mitts were in the Skull Woods big chests, with the big key being available in the front. And Freddeh made the conscious choice to skip Skull Woods here. Old man just giving us a save and quit point, essentially. That heart piece is not especially valuable right now.
Shovel inside of Spectacle Rock Cave. I don't know if Solski's terribly happy about that one either.
There's absolutely no reason to be happy to see that there. Solski's going to grab it anyways, just because that's something you can't really afford to pass up when you know it's there. A bit of a walk, but if Solski's on top of his game, he should be able to just bomb jump right across this pit and save himself the long walk out. I think that setup's fine. Nope. That bomb jump's a tricky one because you sort of clip into the wall in order to get extra distance on it, and it's pretty precise. Freddeh apparently never made the dam play earlier, but he is now taking that. Got to imagine Desert's going to be next on the list for him. Well, he could still flute the 6 for that. Yep, just fluting there instead of walking, which, why would you walk?
Solski likely going to clear out Hera. Again, this could be our other pendant.
Yeah, at this point, that pendant can be anywhere. I don't remember if that text on the tablet is for a map or a compass, but it's one of the two, which means we're not going to see Solski come back for that. Our tracker is telling me that that is a map, not a compass. So, still not worth the effort it would take to get either way, because Solski would have to backtrack all the way up the mountain to that tablet once he finds a Master Sword.
Yeah, I don't think he's walking over there, even if the Master Sword is in Hera.
So what we're really hoping to see on Solski's side in the Tower of Hera is that big key locked in its own basement. That way we don't have to spend time in the tile room.
Oh, and there's our boots.
That's a good find. That means Solski can go back and clear the desert. That does also open up a few additional checks, namely the Bonk Rocks and the King's Tomb. But more than that, just go fast, my friends.
You have to imagine we're going to see hammer strats here rather than fighter sword Moldorm.
Yep, hammer just takes 3 hits to put Moldorm down, and assuming nothing strange happens, there's no risk of getting the enraged and fast phase.
Yeah, took a close call to that center hole. Oh, and it is our last pendant.
So we do know where all the crystals are. We also know that the Master Sword pedestal is fully in logic. Solski could go clear Palace of Darkness and pull that right now if he wanted to. He won't, because he's going to go check the rest of the mountain first, as well as the Hera basement, but still an option. And anything we currently don't have could be there, except that Quake medallion that Freddeh just pulled out of the witch's hut.
Yeah, and he's going to need that, because that is our Mire access.
1 in 3 chance that it's also our Turtle Rock access, which would spare us from needing any other medallions today. Solski, standing on top of those pegs, is totally invincible, can ignore all the tiles coming his way, but he's still got to sit through them until they're done flying, so that door will open.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice chance to think about where you're going to go next sometimes. And sometimes it's just really irritating. Well, that was worth the wait.
I think that'll save him at least the 40 seconds he spent in that room, especially knowing that we're going to have to kill Vitrius at some point this seed. Saves a few seconds on Argus, probably save a few seconds on Helmasaur. Solski goes that route. Save more than a few seconds on Landmolas, both 1 and 2. And, of course, Ganon himself. So yeah, pretty solid find. Not going to complain about that.
It also just makes life a little, nicer. So 2 decent items out of Hera, even without it being a pendant. The silvers aren't required, but those boots are for this seed.
And the good news is that Hera is a fast enough dungeon that Freddeh is very likely to check it once he has that mirror on his way to the east side of the mountain. Fortunately, no mirror now means no Hera check for him now, but I would be surprised to see him skip that.
Yeah, I think he's gonna have to go to Skullwoods now. I'm not sure how many. Gonna do the shovel check now, but not that many other spots he can go to at this point.
Remind me, have we seen the front of the castle from Freddeh yet?
I don't think we've seen the front of the castle at all from either runner.
I didn't think so, but I wanted to be sure I wasn't misremembering crossing it with some other seed and whatnot, because we've had a ton of seeds so far this tournament.
The dig spot is our 3rd bottle.
I believe 2 of them came with bees, and the last one was empty. That's 6 junk items in Paradox Cave, and a hookshot. So that mirror absolutely required just to get to the west or to the east side of the mountain. Also of note, that hookshot does open up Swamp Palace as fully completable for us today.
Yep, which in turn, since Desert can now also be completed by Solski, opens up our Pyramid Fairy.
Yeah, looking over the tracker, the only items we're missing between the 2 runners at this point are the Cane of Samaria and a potential Misery Mire access. Or not Misery Mire, Turtle Rock Medallion, excuse me. Granted, both runners... sorry, go on.
Well, yeah, and we do need a Master Sword somewhere, but that can come at any point before Ganon.
Yeah, in the worst case, we could see 3 of those swords in the tower even. I'm not terribly concerned. I'm sure they'll find one. And it is double Quake today, so that mushroom out of Palace of Darkness absolutely required and absolutely paying dividends for Freddeh once he gets his mitts.
That also means all 3 of our pendants are required dips. Mitts and Skullwoods, Pod had the mushroom, and Hera had boots.
At this point, let's just see Samaria on Ped just to rub it in. Because, yeah, as of now, the Cane of Samaria is, as omniscient observers, the Cane of Samaria is the last item we're looking for. Where's Solski? Okay, looks like it's going to be the desert for Solski. He's got one more item in the palace proper off the boss, and he's also got the checkerboard cave.
Should be 2 more because the big chest as well.
Oh, yes, you're totally right. I'm sorry. For Freddeh, it looks like the Dark World, and it looks like he's run out of locations besides Skull Woods, I think. So, no mitts, can't use the shortcut, gotta take the long walk. In spite of Freddeh just now getting his mitts and just now being able to start making those checks, which he's got to do the Smith's Chain before he can get up to the mountain and find the progression Solski found there, he's still got that Mushroom and Quake medallion in his pocket. So this race is still definitely way up in the air.
Yeah, and I'm guessing we see full clears of swamp and ice out of Solski.
Yeah, definitely an argument to be made there because those two are the crystal dungeons. And
now,
in general... sorry, go on.
Yeah, go ahead. Well, I'm not sure that Solski actually is aware. I don't think he's found the pod map, so I don't think he knows that's a pendant.
Oh, yeah, you're totally correct, actually. We only know pod is a pendant because of the drop on Freddie's side. On the other hand, he does know that Swamp Palace is a crystal, at least. But at the same time, who actually wants to go into Swamp Palace?
I mean, for Solski, it represents a total of, 10 items? Because 8 in there, and then the Pyramid Fairy. That's a lot of, prize to bribe you that way.
Yeah, as far as he's aware, he's still 2 items from go mode, because no sign of that Quake on his side, and of course Samaria. So 10 chances is certainly a lot to actually find it. And if he routes that way, he could walk from the Pyramid Fairy check over to the Palace of Darkness just to continue the efficiency train, which would pay off in spades for him. The Landmos are not taking those silver arrows in the foreheads, though, so he's having to switch over to the Fire Rod to knock that down.
Yeah, meanwhile, Freddeh using Fire Rod shots he can on Mothra before switching over to the Fighter Sword. Or blue potting up, probably going to switch back to Fire Rod.
Yeah. Fire Rod does Master Sword tier damage to the Moth, so that's equivalent to these Fighter Sword spins here. But still sort of hard to get that in with the spikes being so willing to block for him. And the Fighter Sword showing off its absolutely pathetic range as well. But that is Mothula down for him. Did Solski not check the green pendant when he was first in the back of Sahasrah's hut?
I thought he had, and that he had the map, but maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, he just checked it again, so the only alternative is he thought he had that green pendant, which seems a little unlikely.
Yeah, he only did the front part of Skullwoods, didn't actually go to the back.
Or maybe he's just messing with us, who knows. Yeah, our tracker clarifying that Solski did not, in fact, talk to Sahasrahla near the start of the race. So that was potentially new information for him that he could have gotten just by pressing his map button.
Meanwhile, Freddeh doing Skullwoods back to front, so hasn't gotten mitts yet, did Killmoth first.
Which, if you intend to full clear it, back to front is absolutely the way to go. It reduces any strange occurrences like big key on Mothula and him having to do the double runaround for that. On Solski's side, we do see the Palace of Darkness play coming out of him. Wouldn't be surprised to see him pull out the mirror here and just finish off Eastern Palace first, but it's definitely going to be pod right after, even in that case, with him opening it up. And nope, just straight into pod.
Yeah, we'll see how long it takes him to do the fetch quest after, but with the flute, it's a very quick one.
Yeah, but that is something to consider, because while it is quick, it's also just pulling him away from other efficient checks he could be making at the moment. It would be keeping him out of swamp, out of ice, out of potentially trying to dip Meyer Caneless. Well, no, it wouldn't do that one because that is the medallion for entry. I'm silly.
Yeah, even so, even if he does get over to it, still looking for that cane.
Yep, but pretty much the entire world outside of Turtle Rock and Ganon's Tower is open at this point, so could be anywhere. Freddeh does grab his mitts. He's still got 2 chests he can check, this one and the pinball room. And then we'll see where he goes after. The Smith's check, or Smith's chain as a whole, is what will pay out the hardest for him, with the purple chest having the mirror. And to clarify for chat, Quake is not in the Palace of Darkness. However, the mushroom is, and turning in the mushroom is what gives Quake. Also, Freddeh did not check the ped there because he did not have the mirror to go from Dark World to Light in front of the ped to check.
Yeah, the mirror is on the purple chest, so he'll need to get over there. That said, these mitts didn't unlock that much for him, so I think the main thing he could do now, other than Smith Chain and a couple of one-off checks, is Ice.
Yeah, Ice Palace would be the big thing that keeps him away from those Smith checks. However, if he goes to Ice... Well, no, I say that. It's not accurate. I was going to say that if he went to Ice and he had the cane, the mirror would be his go mode, but clearly not. He needs the hookshot and the boots both off the mountain for that. But at the same time, if he does Ice before the Smith's Chain and finds the cane in there, that doesn't open anything new for him, except the ability to full clear Meyer, I guess. And I think that mirror would drag him immediately to the mountain, which would put him in go mode. So if the Cane of Samaria is in this Ice Palace play that Freddie's making, I think he's actually in good shape overall, as long as he doesn't put off the Smith's Chain too hard in favor of the other potential dungeon. Or I guess dungeons plural, because he can go finish Eastern as well.
Yeah, only a single item in there, but still will have to be done at some point. You'd rather do it with boots by a lot.
Have to do it with boots. Well, oh, you mean Eastern, I'm sorry, yeah. I got my mind on to desert after that. But yeah, Eastern Palace does have a large number of straightaways that really make you wish you could have the boots for it. But vanilla, you have to clear Eastern to get the boot, so there is no chance outside of Randomizer.
I mean, there's a lot of fun things about Randomizer, but the real reason people play it is so they can do things you can't in vanilla, like have silver arrows.
Yeah, because there is no boss in this game that is vulnerable to arrows and not made an absolute joke by silvers. It's actually pretty great. And on Solski's side, we do see him saying no to the Helmasaur King. So he will not have that pendant in the event that we need to pull the cane out of the Master Sword pedestal. But that's still a long shot at this point with how much we have open to check.
Yeah, probably the most beneficial spots if you're rooting for Freddeh for it to be or Ped or Green Pendant.
Yeah, those would be the absolute best for him, and just really rubbing it into Solski's decisions to skip these pendant bosses here. But even if it's in Ice Palace, I think that's a pretty good spot for Freddeh too.
Yeah, it would just be not quite as good.
Yeah, especially because the cane cannot distract Solski from that Quake medallion, because the cane's only useful in places you can reach with Quake. That staircase being absolutely nasty with ice physics. It's the reason nobody likes Ice Palace.
Yeah, the hookshot or boots make that less bad. Oh, hey, Armus has a red mail.
What even is that red mail?
I don't want to guess.
Well, that is a third crystal to Solski compared to just one for Freddeh. And I'm going to see where he goes next. It's looking like the Swamp Palace play for him. So Solski is absolutely on the dungeon warpath at this point.
Makes sense, only one item away from go mode. You want to try and get it if you can. This is probably the dig spot check. I don't know if he did Stumpy either. And
I think it's the dig spot in the Grove Ledge Cave, the so-called K45 here. Which, definitely efficient to route these in before Swamp, just in case you hit it and you get into go mode.
oh, but there it is.
There it is. And now we, as observers, know where every single necessary item in this game is, and we know Solski's Swamp Palace play will, at most, pay with a sword. That does also mean that if Solski continues his dungeon path, he is very likely to find that after he finishes Swamp Palace. But he's still got to finish Swamp first, and then after that, he'll have to turn in that mushroom like he's doing right now. Okay.
Yeah, it's basically the same time investment whenever. May also want to get a potion, in which case this would be, nice.
Yep. So really at this point, it's a matter of when does Solski go to Ice Palace versus when does Freddeh do the Smith's Chain and take that mirror up the mountain. And honestly, at this point, if Solski does it soon, I would say he probably has a bit of an advantage just on account of having already cleared out Desert and Eastern. But if he doesn't and Solski makes his play soon, then we've definitely got a race. And yes, to clarify for chat, Desert Palace was absolutely boots locked with the big key on the torch. So no sequence breaking it.
Definitely a scary cold stair fight at this point.
Yep, both giving and getting the run around, trying to get those hammer hits in where he can. 2 hearts on green male. I believe those falling ice balls do 2 hearts, though. And there's the unfortunate death. And Freddie saying no, taking his cane and going home.
That one definitely hurts. That's one of the worst boss run backs in the game.
Yeah, the only ones that really come close, I think, are Vitreous and Argus.
Or Agatu.
We don't talk about that here. So it's going to be potions for Freddie here, it looks like. The real question is, does he go back in, or does he just go back and make other checks? Because not going back to Ice Palace till he's in go mode is a perfectly valid option, especially if he doesn't think Cold Stare has it.
Yeah, I guess turning in the green pendant and Eastern. We do, technically this won't be go mode for Solski again. We'll still need another sword at some point, but probably going to just go mode things until GT.
Yeah, he'll probably check the right in his way chests. Like, depending on how he routes Ice Palace, he may still have the Freezor chest and the big chest as an option at that point. And then, obviously, there's a lot of checks in Ganon's Tower en route to that big key, as well as a bunch of checks in Turtle Rock that you really can't pass up because of the way you need keys in that dungeon. And, of course, that assumes Solski finds no sword here in Swamp Palace.
Yeah, it's entirely possible that there's just one sitting down here.
But there's only 2 more checks in Swamp that Solski will grab unless he goes back in for the left side. And if there's a sword in here that he's going to get, it's going to be on the boss. Also, it's worth noting, Freddie did not buy a green potion for the magic refill when he was at the shop, which does mean he could not go straight back into Ice Palace because you need magic to get past the first few rooms. Killing the Armos Knights here will give him a magic refill, which will give him the choice to go back if he so chooses.
Yeah, might also go to Mire. There are more items in Mire at this point than there are left in Ice.
Right, going back to Ice at this point is just for 1 item. And yeah, to clarify for chat, Solski is the one that found the green potion in the southernmost portion of Ice Palace. That was not Freddie. And while Freddie did buy blue potions, he didn't use them immediately, which indicates to me he probably wanting to save those for the Cold Stare rematch. Because remember, blue potions give you health as well as magic.
It's having a little bit of trouble with Silver's timing today, but gets Argus there. Oh, and there's our sword.
There's the sword, yep. So as soon as Solski goes to Ice Palace, fishes out that cane, he'll be in an unconditional go mode. And I will say it did take Solski 3 arrows to put down Argus, but 1 for 3 is good enough if you're playing in Major League Baseball, so.
Green Pendant is just our map to Turtle Rock.
Not information we need at this point. So Solski's taking the Bombos tablet check since this is the closest he'll ever be to it. What's he going to do afterwards, though? Ice Palace would be logical considering the Dungeon Train, but he can go a lot of places at this point. Chat's wishing that Sahasrara would have had the map to Skull Woods. I do agree with that, but I do just want to remind chat that the map to Skull Woods was in Link's house, which is probably the second best location in that situation. Okay, so Solski's going for the Super Bomb. On Freddie's side, he is in the Smith's area. He didn't grab the Smith itself, but he is doing the hammer pegs. So I can't imagine the Smith at the purple chest will be that far behind.
Solski doing some big red bomb tricks.
Not looking for the dupe there, but did take a damage boost in order to set up a dash that the bomb would actually follow him on. Doing it again there, but he bonked. And with no mirror, Freddie has to save and quit after picking up the Smith. Just like he'll have to do again after picking up the purple chest.
Yep, that was required to seed since mirror is at the end of this. A whole bunch of nothing in Pyramid Fairy.
Yep, so Solski is winding down locations. I don't think he's got that much left in the way of one-offs and fetch quests. I think really that comes down to just the Graveyard Ledge and the King's Tomb.
The Bonk. Yeah, King's Tomb and Bonk Rocks. I don't think he checked Bonk Rocks earlier.
Oh. I'm a bit surprised to see him not approach this from the Dark World then, so that he can wrap the Graveyard Ledge in with those two locations. But reasonable checks to make either way. They're not exactly slow.
Yeah, not a lot that can be here that will help him since we know where Kane is, other than a Tempered Sword, which would be really nice to have.
Yeah, I always rate Tempered Sword as the single most nice to have item in the randomizer, Silver Arrows being a very close second. But definitely not necessary, and I know Solski can do Master Sword Ganon.
Yeah, particularly with silvers.
So there's Freddie's red mail from the Smiths. Now he's got to go back to the Dark World and come back to that house to get the purple chest so that he can get his mirror, get to the West Mountain, which will be his go mode plus or minus the sword that we know he cannot possibly miss.
And then an hour and 12 minutes in, we see the Lumberjack item is 10 arrows.
Yeah, Solski's starting to get a little worried if he's checking that, I think. And now it's the front castle for him. I'm a bit surprised that he's not hard on the dungeon train like he was when he walked into Swamp Palace earlier.
Yeah, a lot of people really hate doing non-go mode Ice Palace, and I can only assume Solski is amongst that group.
I had assumed that pretty much all of that crowd was also against doing non-go mode Swamp Palace, but here we are.
He skipped left side, I think, right?
Yeah. Which I guess isn't that bad when you're comparing it to non-go mode.
Yeah, it really just adds the south check with the room where you have to push the block to spawn the chest.
But this does mean that Freddie will almost certainly be the first to go mode here, because he's about to turn in that chest, get his mirror, and frankly, I can't imagine him taking that anywhere except the mountain.
Not happy with the thief there today.
No, because that's really obnoxious. And, well, all he's got to do now, he's got to get his boots out of Hera, and he's got to get his hookshot off of Paradox Cave. And at that point, he'll be go mode plus or minus the sword, which, frankly, most good runners perfectly comfortable with Master Sword and consider that a go mode, they'll just check the easy chests and do things like Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, and it's a non-optional pickup today, actually, to get to that Master Sword since it's on a boss.
Yep, so there is absolutely no risk of Freddeh missing the sword. The only question is, will he take more checks in Swamp than he has to? Which I would imagine the only extra one he'll do is the southernmost loop, and that's a pretty quick check, I'll consider.
There's Solski heading into ice.
Okay, so at this rate, with Freddeh having to complete Hera and make his way over to Paradox Cave first, I think Solski will reach the single item he's still looking for first, but it'll be close. And of course, at that point, the big problem for Freddeh is that he will have to go back and clear Desert, and he'll have to clear Swamp, both of which Solski's already done. Meanwhile, Solski will just have to... Sorry.
And I was going to mention he's going to have to go back into ice.
Oh, yeah, he never finished that either. Which Solski will already be 2/3 of the way through ice by the time he finds the cane, and that'll just be a jump down to the boss. So... yeah, unless Solski makes some really strange skips here and misses the cane, this is going to be a rough spot for Freddeh.
Yeah, Freddeh also appears to have ditched out a Hera without the boots, so that's a bit of a rough one.
Yeah, that's going to be sad because those boots are hard required this seed to beat Desert Palace. Big key on the torch means there is no way around that lock. So Freddeh is using the mirror here to take full advantage, check both the light and the dark world pretty efficiently as Solski puts down Pengators. Freddeh is pretty close to his hookshot, which is not going to be his go mode because he skipped the upstairs Hera. Solski on his side, just waiting to see the iced tea room from him so he can get that cane. And seeing a lesser used Ice Palace bomb jump from Solski here to clear that hole and get across to this room. Chad, if you're looking for anything fun to do a hammer dash through that room. Fun times, I promise. Three checks on the right for Solski here. Don't believe these were anything of value when we saw them from Freddeh.
Yeah, and I'm guessing we get a full clear of Turtle Rock out of Freddeh here.
Yeah, given the fact that he'll still need those boots, I would be surprised to not see it at this point after he skipped out on Hera.
May do Hera after that if he doesn't find the boots, which we know he won't, but they'll still come a little further back.
Yeah, the real kicker there would be as if he noped out to do Misery Mire instead. If he did that, that'd just be a real bad spot. Solski is finally making his way over to the iced tea chest. It's going to be his last check besides the big chest in Gold Stair, and it's the only one in this dungeon he really needs. So by opening this chest at 1 hour and 5 seconds, Solski is in go mode.
Yeah, also a little low on health here. Wouldn't be surprised to see him try and grab a fairy at some point.
Yeah, there's a pot he can fall down, which we actually did see on Freddie's side, as Freddie is leaving the mountain, not seeing Turtle Rock from him. Whoa. Didn't expect that one. Looks like it's going to be Swamp instead for him, which he'll find his sword at the end of this. Will not find his Pegasus boots. Also, chat's calling me out. Did I leave a minutes marker off of that time when I announced Solski's go mode?
You did. I wasn't going to say anything. I figured they'd figure it out.
Well, okay. Luckily, everybody knows what I actually meant, and Solski's in go mode anyways. All he's got to do is kill this Cold Stare and clear the 2 Cane Lock dungeons, and he's good. And he's pulling out that green potion. Gonna switch back to the Fire Rod here, taking no chances with that health bar of his.
Yeah, does have a blue potion if he really needs it, but would rather not burn that yet.
I think it's just 1 spin. Yep. That's Cold Stare down for Solski. And that is his 5th crystal of the game. So, I'm trying to think this through here. What can Freddie do to get back in this race, aside from terrible mistakes from Solski that we would just rather not see because that would be super feels bad? I'm not seeing very much, but...
Yeah, it's going to be hard. I'm not sure that Freddie can do anything unless Solski has some problems with the rest of the game.
Yeah, with Solski being in go mode, Freddie opting to skip out on the location that would have put him in go mode, and the general crystal advantage Solski has, absolutely his race to lose at this point. Maybe if that every time that Murderdactyl ran over him while he was casting Quake did a full heart of damage, we would have seen something. But that's not how that works. And Quake entered this dungeon means no sword beams because of that Murderdactyl running over him, which means Solski's got a very slow Mire too. You hate to see it, friends. And Chad is asking if Game 3 between these two will be tonight, assuming Solski holds on to win. And all I can say to that is that, as far as I can tell, Game 3 has not yet been scheduled. And for additional clarity for chat, compasses are only activating the item counters here because this is a map and compass shuffle in particular. If you play the ordinary rando, picking up compasses will not activate this item count. But if you play the map or compass shuffle like we are here, or if you play full-blown Key Sanity, it will do that for you.
Yeah, I know the easy mode settings in previous versions of the randomizer did that. I don't know if there's still an option to just turn that on.
Yeah, I haven't played with the more interesting randomizer settings in a long time, so I couldn't tell you that either, I'm afraid.
Solski hoping against hope for a non-vanilla big key.
Yeah. We didn't see a small key in the firelock chest, though, did we?
No, I believe it was an item.
Oh, hey.
There it is.
Freddie did find an additional sword on the left side of Swamp Palace, so he'll be on tempered at least. That's some small consolation for him. And yeah, with that big key pickup on the right side of Myers, Solski is on to the back, and he'll be putting some silver arrows in Vitreous, I have to imagine.
Yeah, out of all the fights in the dungeons in the game, Vitreous has the highest difference between the easiest version of his fight and the hardest version.
For my money, the hardest version of this fight is the hardest fight in the game, like no question about it. But with silver arrows, it's at absolute worst completely manageable. Also, chat's raising Hera as the shortest dungeon. I think I agree with that as long as you don't have to go to the basement. If you do, I think it's probably Skull Woods, assuming you enter the dungeon with the means to clear it. Although, as usual, it's worth noting that the dungeons with the biggest variance between full clears and go mode are Swamp Palace and Ice Palace. Like you saw Freddie check the left side of Swamp, and that just took a ton of time.
I mean, I'm not sure what chat's talking about. Tower of Hera is a tower. It's 7 stories. It's definitely not the shortest dungeon.
Is this what the kids call a bruh moment? Because you said it, I'm not sure I approve of it, but it is technically correct.
Well, either way, let's see this Turtle Rock.
Yeah, Solski's got 6 crystals. Turtle Rock here will be his 7th. Freddie is up to 3 and a Master Sword. Or a Tempered Sword, excuse me. Gotta go finish Ice at some point. He's gonna do the Meyer Desert combo here. Desert, he just has to grab the big key off the torch and go straight to the boss. He already knows all of that. And Meyer's just the big key hunt. Although, no, he can't get the big key off the torch without the Pegasus boots, which he does not have. So, yeah, still a fair bit to go for Freddie. I completely forgot. He's still got to make his way all the way back up to the Tower of Hera.
Yeah, but we might get this full clear of Meyer. Cutscene chest and all.
I I think cutscene chest and big chest were the only two Solski skipped, so... And we've got red mail, we've got 3 swords, we've got a mirror shield. The only things we can really find that would be worth even mentioning are invincibility items, the powder, or the gold sword.
So yeah, it's going to be a pretty tough one for Freddeh to catch up at this point, I'm afraid. But that just means that they'll get to do more randomizers, so that's okay. Solski making his way through TR.
Yeah, speaking as an observer, I always want to see Game 3s, I always want to see the hype and excitements, but to watch it slip away from a runner just because they decided to skip a Pendant dungeon and just the randomizer more or less had it out for them in a manner of speaking, you hate to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Although, I mean, I do think on balance, Solski's also, played a little better in addition to also getting kind of luckier with what checks that he did and didn't make. Freddeh has had a couple of really kind of costly boss mistakes in particular, but definitely both of them playing well, just a little better on Solski's side tonight.
Yeah, no debating that. Honestly, my favorite races are the one where one runner executes better, but the other runner diverges the route and has it pay off for them, and it creates a really close race out of it, which is pretty close to what we had with divergence in this seed almost from the 10th minute as soon as they got their Dark World access.
Yeah, the bunny sprite for the eggplant is apparently a peach, which is, I mean, you make your own decisions on that one.
I'll just leave it at no comment. So Freddeh going to show us the first of 2 chests that Solski skipped in Misery Mire, but we've got the 20-ish second delay after he lights the torches. Now, fun fact, it may not feel like it, but this cutscene here is the same length as the cutscene for the Desert Boss Door.
Yeah, but that one's much more dramatic. You can see the, full motion video going.
Yeah, and I really think this one feels longer, specifically because you can't see it. And hey, Sankart. Not gonna say no to a refill, but doesn't progress us. And yeah, chat pointing out exactly what I mean by Mire's feeling longer because you can't see it. But no, they're the same length. Hammer try next from Solski with some very advanced and very clean menu strats to switch to the fire rod as the fire head dies.
Yeah, you'll love to see it. No ice on the ground.
Something was missing on Freddeh's side. Now he can just go back and walk right back to it. Thought about not doing so. Thought better of it. Which, when you're an item from Go mode, hard to justify, really.
Yeah, but I'm not sure how far back you have to go to get that bridge to respawn.
I think it'll respawn here. I think you've just got to go back to the lobby. And that is 7 crystals for Solski.
Yep, the bot is down, but if people want to get their guesses into chat for the big key guessing game, there are 22 locations in Ganon's tower where the big key can be. Guess a number between 1 and 22 and see if you're right. What you got for us today on your side on this?
I got a lucky number 10, which by all conventional routing puts us in the randomizer room, which is also my favorite room in the tower, just because of how the numbers fall.
There you go. I'm going to go with 3 today for the torch on the most common routing, but it's not, always the routing.
Well, first 2 chests here in the so-called Hope Room. And if you guessed 2, you win. Congratulations. If you didn't guess 2, then who cares? Better luck next time. You can guess again in the next race. Solski did have to go over and grab that pot key, because if you go upstairs in Ganon's tower without at least 1 key in your inventory, you do run the risk of getting screwed out of that and having to go back down to collect a key. So you can get 1 guaranteed off the mini Helmosaurs in the room with 2 chests, but that's the only guaranteed one, and you do need 2 keys upstairs. So never go upstairs Ganon's tower without a key, friends.
Take a chance and roll the dice. It only costs you about, like 6-7 minutes?
Yeah, if you do that, make sure you're racing me when you do, please. And then on Freddie's side, that is a Vitreous down with wooden arrows. So not the same absolute joke of a fight we saw on Solski's side with the silvers. But that is his 4th crystal, at least.
Some nice fire rod strats through the gauntlet.
Almost knocked both of those into the spikes for the 1-hit kills, but unfortunately the second one came just short, so it lived to take another hit. Solski had a bit of fun. Yeah, he had a bit of fun with the first Land Mola's fight with those silver arrows, but second one, no problem at all. Just barely misses the slash to 1 cycle the Wizrobe room, but able to knock it down as soon as it spawns for a 2 cycle. More of a 1.5 really by my book, but oh well, who's counting?
I think you were.
Yes, I was. So here's 4 more torches for Solski to light, and then it'll be the aforementioned mini Helmosaur room where he can get his 1 guaranteed key. Gonna check these chests for a clutch sword. Not in these 2, still 2 more he can try for though.
Yeah, could well have them. I don't know how many heart pieces he owns. Could also get a health refill.
Yeah. You know, though, for us dipping and between the two runners full clearing every single dungeon, aside from the basement of Ganon's Tower, there's still a lot of that tracker that's not lit up. Solski takes a fall.
Yeah, it really is. There's like 20 items in the basement of GT that we didn't see.
21, including the big chest, because we saw 2 out of 22 big key locations, and then add 1 for the big chest.
Well, we did see the torch on the way past for the key, though.
Oh, you're right, we did. I didn't even register that because we already had the big key at the time.
That's not a sword.
Yeah, not even vanilla. You can't see it, but I am shaking my head over here. So here's GM2. The 2 clone bodies will always shoot good orange orbs. The main body may or may not shoot blue balls at you. Just depends on luck. And you've got to hit 6 times to knock him down. Which, that's 4 if I saw the first phase correctly.
Yep, would have been 3 cycles, except Dago was rude and fired a blue ball on that last one.
Yeah. 3 cycles is realistically the best you can ask for with AGA2, because getting a pair of triples is exceedingly rare, requires exceedingly good RNG and good play. So 3 cycles is the best you can really expect. 4 still alright. On Freddie's side, we did see him not check the right side of Ice Palace to begin with after getting that cane, so he's checking it now for no particular value. He's gonna have to go back down and kill Cold Stare, but should have a much easier time of it this time with the potions he bought and his Tempered Sword.
Yeah, Tempered's definitely easier than doing Fighter Sword. Meanwhile, Solski doing Master Sword Phase 1. With Silver's Phase, or even without, Phase 2 is kind of the hardest part of this fight.
Does have a good position to get double spins in here, but he's not on Phase 2, so he just gets a trident to the face for his trouble. And here's Phase 2, and he can't even take advantage of the double spin setup because of those bats and his low health.
Yeah, I think he's got a blue potion left.
I know he bought one, and I don't believe he used it. Either way, he needs to get 12 spins into here to advance to Phase 3 and get out of this obnoxious phase. And after taking a hit, he's going to pull it out.
Yeah, I was probably holding off just to hope to save that animation time.
Yeah. Does get a great position here. That 8 spins should get him out of the second phase with what he'd already done before. And he can just latch to that torch and take no damage. On Freddie's side, he wins the rematch with Cold Stare, picks up his 5th crystal. Still got to get up to Tower of Hair to get those boots, and we may see Turtle Rock from him before that. Who knows?
Solski patiently waiting for Ganon to stop warping.
Lighting up the torch glitch here since he has to use Master Sword spins to make Ganon vulnerable. And the knockback on those is not trivial.
It just missed the double there.
Yeah, with as much knockback as the Master Sword does, unless you're spinning at him directly from the side, getting a double is difficult. Like, if you're at any sort of angle or even slightly above him, I don't think you can get it.
Yep, but down goes Ganon after 4 silver arrows. So go ahead and get your GGs in chat as Solski crosses this bridge.
Yep, and Solski finishes this race in first place with a time of 1:43.48. And seconds later, Freddeh decides to forfeit the race instead of hunting for boots. So GG's to both runners, and that will conclude the race. We'll see if we can get either of them in for interviews. And yes, that's Solski. Hello, Solski. GG, and congrats on the win. And we're also joined by Freddeh, which, welcome, GG. Unfortunately, that seed didn't quite break your way with that boots location, needing them, but...
Was it actually even close to that point, really?
I mean, the routes were so wildly divergent that if you went into Hera, like, unfortunately, the cold stare death would have set you back a fair bit, but you would have reached go mode about the same time as him.
Okay, well... That's, I guess, fair enough. It's closer than I thought it was. I thought I was fairly well cooked since pod, really.
Yeah.
I was hoping the Quake difference would make the difference, but... Or Quake and Lamp, I guess, technically, but sounds like he went in not too long after me.
It took him a fair bit to get in there. I can't remember if he actually got boots before that. The primary thing that he did that we weren't sure he would do is he checked that mushroom fairly quickly afterwards. So that got him the Quake medallion, and that's what let him off to the races, really.
Yeah.
Solski, if you're there and you're trying to talk, we cannot hear you. Okay, so Solski may have technical issues to sort out. While he does so...
Yeah, I don't know if anyone was counting, but I had to have been, like, basically one hammer hit away on all of those.
Yeah, I wasn't keeping count, but you did a good job of giving them the runaround for most of the fight. It's just one hit was all it took, and it gave eventually.
Yeah, I don't know why none of them died. Like I said, it must have been literally one hit away, because I had quite a few fire rod shots into. That was weird. I'll have to look back and count or something.
You guys can hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. So welcome,
what's great
Solski.
is push to talk on when you don't want it on. Amazing.
It helps.
So yeah, thanks guys for the GGs.
Yeah, GG, man. I actually can't stick around too long, but I have a couple minutes.
Yeah,
Before you go, the one question I do want to ask you. So you get to make a settings change to Game 3 as the loser of this race. Do you have any plans for that yet? You willing to share with Solski here?
I am leaning towards 6-6 or standard.
All right, sounds exciting.
Possibly. Actually, never mind. I think I'll do Fast Ganon. Let's do Fast Ganon. I haven't done Fast Ganon.
All right.
Okay, no Ganon's Tower climbs then. I like it.
Screw Ganon's Tower.
I'm inclined to agree.
So, can someone explain to me why there's like 5 items in the exact same 5 item spots this seed, like from our last match? Like, is that real life?
That was ridiculous. We had a major item. We had last seed. We had a hammer on Zora. We had mirror on blacksmith itself instead of purple chest. So yeah, this is our second seed in a row with mirror on the blacksmith chain, which is fantastic.
Combos on the bed make an additional item from last seed for you guys?
We didn't have anything on Ped last time.
It was a bit disappointing.
A major item in Pendant Hera.
Once I saw Pearl at Zora and Titans at Skullwood's big chest, I went right for Smith chain. Like, it was so stupid. And then I got blue mail. I'm like, well, that's one item. Let's get the other one. So I did like Thieves Town first, just because I wasn't sure if Pendant or Crystal. Turned into, I think, a Crystal. And
yes,
then,
it did.
And then almost immediately after that, like I went back for that purple chest when I could, and it was the mirror, and I like lost it on my. Luckily, I had the mic muted, but I was like, I had my cam, and I was just like losing my mind. I was like, "Can you like explain how this still is a thing?" Like we were told that like CSPRNG was no longer going to be an issue, and that's like clearly wrong because there's no way you can convince me that 5 items spawn in the same spot in 2 back-to-back seeds with like a day apart. That just doesn't happen.
Yeah, I
didn't get to see your game one, but
I mean, we've had it too in like, what was it, in SG Live? Like we had like several hammer and ice palace seeds, several bow and boots in like Sash Cave seeds. Like it was
Big Chest in Skullwoods has had an item in mini seeds.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, gonna have to take that one up with the devs. All I can do is listen to your complaints.
Oh, I'll do it. I'll do it.
I'll wait till after the tournament.
Please do. Like if you actually think it's an issue, then please do.
Yeah,
I would strongly encourage it.
No, it's definitely. I think a lot of people have started noticing it too. That's just been popping up lately. So it's one of those things that it's pretty much time to address it. So.
Yeah, especially if you were able to play it and it influenced your routing in this seed, then good on you for being able to read it. But sometimes it goes like that, I guess.
Yeah. Equally frustrating because if you do play it and it doesn't work out, then it's just like,
Yeah.
So
I try not to game things like that, but I definitely got a little tilted when I found where everything was. Because I like the last item myths, basically. I think I only had green pendant turn in and Eastern finish to do at that point. And then mirror, I think, was last for me.
I think Hookshot was in the mountain again too.
Yeah, Hookshot was on the mountain again. Yep.
Yeah, I thought that was up there again. I don't know about boots. I don't think boots were. No, boots were early last.
Yeah, boots were on Hera.
No, boots were in Hera, but I think there was there something in Hera last?
We got boots really early last seed.
Yeah, it was
we
in
got
Kakariko.
We got boots and flute like literally. I think in Kakariko. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's my rant. But other than that, played it all right, I guess. Pod was good. It was like a defensive play. Because I figured Freddie might have went there early before hitting mirror, so it's like, well, I know it's a pendant, so I'll just clear everything but Helma and have that as a risk. And sure enough, it led me to a mushroom in the dark. I had to figure that out, and then the lamp's all right, but the mushroom was the bigger draw because that led to Quake. And it's like, find my red canes, so just more defense, do an escape before I went back to ice or went into ice.
Actually, that does remind me, Freddie, I have one more question for you. If Thievestown had dropped a pendant, would you have immediately gone to Skullwoods after that? Because that would have given you 2 pendants at the time and you knew Skullwoods was green.
Probably, yeah. I was thinking about or if it was going to be a ped seed or not by then.
Yeah, 'cause I was disappointed because theoretically we had a potential super early ped with that pendant layout until the 3rd pendant turned out to be in Hera. Then it was down to just Kane. But
technically,
I like seeing. Yeah, I like seeing seeds where that's available like super early, especially if the item on it doesn't actually gate half the seed. Like it's not your power glove, it's not your hammer, just to see who will play it and who doesn't and how they play it.
Yeah, I never really crossed my mind in this seed. There's just too much available.
Yeah.
I actually bungled the Skullwoods track because I thought it was a regular pendant just as it flashed on my screen. Then I go to Sash and it tells me that's the green pendant. I was like, well, that was a little bit of wasted travel there because I was trying to figure out what my go mode were. Yeah, I was trying to figure out what my go mode was, and then it was Pod.
Pizza Hut or something, I think.
This is the Turtle Rock map.
Oh yeah, the Turtle Rock map. That was useful at that moment in time, Cap.
Yeah, I didn't end up doing Skull. I only did the front. And once I saw the Titans, like I said, I just knew exactly what to do. It was like it's so stupid it worked, but that's just my, I guess, soapbox to stand on that needs to be addressed. So yeah.
Yep, I gotta get going. So GG, man. See ya on sometime.
Yep. See you later. Take care.
Yep. GG's and good luck in game 3 when it comes.
Yep, thanks for commentating, guys. I'll have to watch it back later. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm gonna dip too, you guys. Thanks for the commentary and the host. Take care.
Yep. GG's to you too, Solski. And with that done, let's look over the schedule for tonight, see what other action we've got. Let's see, starting about a half an hour ago, we have GFE 12 versus Sailor Nup on the main Speed Gaming channel. Starting in about 5 minutes, we've got Weighty Words versus Big Dunka starting on Speed Gaming 4. That should be a good match. And then starting in about an hour, we have Sir Linkalot 777 versus Pika Pals on ALTTP Randomizer. And starting in about 2 hours, we've got BBB Kermit versus Willard J. Bradley on Speed Gaming 3. And in 3 hours, we've got Ganon's Gone Wild versus Kava on Speed Gaming 4. So, fair bit of randomizer action, all staggered throughout the evening for anybody who still wants more.
Yeah, and a couple of those are game 3s, both the one that started about half an hour ago and the one starting shortly, both game 3s in those matches.
So, Mercer, any last words for the crowd today?
No, I love game 3s, so kind of happy to see one here. A little unfortunate that it didn't work out to be a tight race, but that happens sometimes with Rando. Hopefully everybody enjoyed and has a good night.
Yep. And before you go, make sure to follow our runners, twitch.tv/Freddeh, twitch.tv/Solski, exactly as you're seeing on the screen here. Follow our tracker tonight, who did a great job keeping everything lit up, keeping chat in line and informed for us, Mr. Scruff Ninja Tuna. And follow my comm partner, Mercer, tonight. That will be it for us. See you guys over some other match.